I feel like the idea of Barbie and the movie has been floating around and been talked about for years, but you're the one to finally have made it. What take on the story did you think that you could offer? Like, how did you get the job? What was the audition process like with Mattel? Did you have to pitch your vision? Like, what was the process like? It's I'm fascinated by this.
Well, you're like the first person I've talked to about this in any real way. Well, I had met Margot a long time ago. It was actually sort of right before I was going into production on Little Women. We met about something else, and it didn't end up working out. But I liked her so much. I thought she was just really smart and really wonderful. And, I knew I loved her as an actor. But then when I got to sit and talk to her as a producer, I was like, oh, she's the greatest. I think she's astonishingly smart, astonishingly like on top of everything and really savvy about how to go about things and really great. So I thought, well, if I ever get the chance to work with her again, I'll do it. And she had secured the rights to Barbie with her company, had brought it to Warner Brothers with Mattel. So they had it set up at Warner Brothers with Mattel, with her.
Okay.
And then she came to me and said, would you be interested in writing this? And I said, yes. And then I said, and Noah would like to write it too. And
Cool.
And I had not really talked to Noah about this. I don't know. I think I had a 6-month-old baby when I said yes. And I thought, I wasn't necessarily running everything by him. I was like finishing one movie, and we sort of said, I said yes. And then it was kind of after the pandemic started. It was in the March of 2020 that Noah said, are we meant to be writing a Barbie movie? I said, yes. And he was like, how do I have any ideas for that? Like, why didn't you sign us up to write a different thing? And I was like, because I have a feeling about that. And I was like, I like Margot, and I've got a feeling. And then sort of the process, it was a really, when I talk about it, it's really boring because I don't know what to say other than I went away and started working on ideas, and then I brought a bunch of them to Noah. And then he kind of was like, well, these are pretty good. And then he started, and then we just started building it together. And initially, again, I didn't know I was going to direct it. And then there was just at a certain point while we were writing it, I realized I really wanted to direct it because I thought it was so great. And I think the moment I knew I wanted to direct it was when Noah said to me, he's like, are you sure you want to direct this? And I was like, oh, are you interested in directing it? Like, I was like, oh, no, this one's mine. Like, I said we should do this. But, it was, I just got really excited about it. And then the way the timing worked out, I started working on it in earnest in March of 2020, and we started shooting it on March 21st, 2021. No, 2022, so 2 years after. So it was a, long process. But also, that's about the process. It takes a while to write, and then it takes a while to start putting it all together. But it was, I don't know, it was something that was exciting because it was so, it had that, it was terrifying. I think that was a big part of it. It's like, oh no, Barbie, what are we with this? I don't know. And I think there's something about kind of starting from that place where it's like, well, anything's possible. And I think it just was like, it had that sort of, it felt like vertigo starting to write it. Like, where do you even begin? And what would be the story? And I think it was that feeling I had was knowing that it would be really interesting terror. And usually that's where the best stuff is.
Fully outside your comfort zone.
Terrified of that. Yeah. And I don't know, like anything where you're like, this could be a career ender. And then you're like, okay, I probably should do it.
Yeah. I doubt that highly. But I'm always curious to know this, when directors who are so beloved for their voice and independence are hired to tackle these like massive tentpoles for major studios. How do you ensure that your vision isn't lost in the noise and the compromises? How do you make sure the way that Barbie exists in your mind is the one that's going to exist on the screen?
For me, it comes down to a few things. Mattel were amazing partners, and they have given us such trust and such freedom, and I think that is incredibly rare. Whatever we wanted it to be, they did not try to micromanage it. They were completely on board as partners, and that was extraordinary. So there's that element, and everything, their archives and everything they have. It was just, I couldn't have asked for better partners in that they are the people who are the home of Barbie, the protector of Barbie, and that they really gave us their trust was extraordinary. And I think a big reason for that was actually Margot and Tom and the way they also, said this, we want to make this movie and we want to make her vision and we don't need to make any Barbie movie. We want to make this one. So for me, I didn't face a lot of you can't do this or you can't do that. I was very much supported in what I wanted to do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is true for you. I usually know on a gut level whether or not something feels right.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it's not, you can't. Yeah, you can lie to yourself, but it's not going to wind up in a good spot.
Yeah.